Hello, and welcome to our interview with the speaker series for the United Astrology Conference 2026. I'm Melissa, and today we are joined by astrologer Nick Lasky. Nick, can you please introduce yourself?
Hey, my name is Nick Lasky. I'm an astrologer based in Richmond, Virginia, and I have been practicing and studying astrology since 2012. And yeah, I am deeply obsessed with the astrological arts, as so many of y'all are.
Awesome, awesome. So, what happened in 2012 that got you into astrology?
Yeah, so I think I had a similar intro experience to a lot of folks where I was traveling around having a spiritual awakening, and someone told me, you need to go check out your astrology chart. And so I went to Cafe Astrology. I just went to this website, put in all my deets and pulled back the algorithm. And the report that it, brought to me was I felt like this app or this website knew me better than anybody that I knew me. And so I was just completely blown away. And that started the intrigue, but it wasn't until 2013 that I started seriously studying. I maybe picked up some books and started the process and looking into signs and planets and things like that in 2012. But in 2013, I actually started working at a metaphysical shop and was surrounded by psychics and tarot readers and astrologers and started getting, professional readings done. And then I started a one-on-one mentorship with an amazing astrologer and, was doing the thing where I was reading like 4 hours of astrology books every night and, just doing the deep dive into astrology that way.
Nice, nice. So, how did your practice progress then from, 4 hours of reading books a night to where you are now? What did that progression look like?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because, my talk is about where astrology ends, tarot begins. And so I must acknowledge that I actually picked up and really kind of honed my skills with tarot first, though I would say I really learned them at the same time. Tarot, just in frank honesty, is a bit easier to pick up
Yeah.
much more quickly, right? And so, in these metaphysical shops, I was learning from folks, and then we do this thing at the metaphysical shop called the Aquarian here, called a psychic festival. It's a big psychic festival with like 50 readers, something like that. And after, I think, 2 years of serious study, I felt ready to, offer readings to the public. And it wasn't, it's like a psychic festival. It was all for donations. It was all a big fundraiser. And so it was low pressure. I wasn't making money off of it. And so I just started that, like just diving in and, doing like 20 readings in a day and short little 15-minute readings, and so it was really wonderful, that kind of experience. And then I started doing readings regularly at the shop, and then from there I started traveling around and doing talks and lectures all over the country and also in Europe, and built my practice with clients that way.
Nice. I know when people get started studying and there's this this push to start doing consultations, at what point or what would you say flipped the switch or like clicked for you and you felt comfortable doing that?
Honestly, it was really pushes from my mentors. I mean,
Nice.
I don't know that I felt ready. But my mentor that had been teaching me knew that I was ready and was like, it's time, right? And so I was rubbing up against that uncomfortable muscle. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for all this. I don't know that I can do it or whatever. But so I trusted and really, I think that experience of actually doing it at a psychic festival where I just like cranked out a whole bunch of readings, in a short amount of time was a really great liftoff that supported
Mhm.
me. And I've been doing readings and stuff for friends and colleagues and people that I knew beforehand, but it was really a push from my mentors and like the desire within me. I knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't feel fully ready. And they were like, no, no, you're ready. It's time. And we're gonna, and then I just have it's a date on the calendar that you're doing it, and then suddenly you're doing it, and
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how it goes. And it's great.
Nice, nice. I like that too. Like you kind of have to moving into that next phase is always going to be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Perfectionism and waiting until you have it perfect is it a complete trap and an illusion?
Especially with astrology where the general consensus is you're learning for the rest of your life. There's
Absolutely.
always going to be something new to bring in or to try to engage with. So, you're going to be waiting forever if you're waiting to know everything. Okay, so can you talk a little bit more then about, I think you had said that learning tarot helped you with learning astrology. Can you pinpoint that a little bit further?
Yeah, so I really picked up tarot before like as the first kind of divinatory art. And having that solid foundation also, I will disclose in all honesty, really gave me a deeper layer of comfort in the consultation setting because I'd already been, doing tarot readings for maybe a year or something like that, or at least 9 months or something. So there's a lot of crossover, the numerology, the symbolism, the correspondences and connections, which I'm going to totally dive into in the lecture. But, they're very unique systems that are totally different. In my experience, they're activating different parts of the brain, and some of us are more inclined towards one system versus the other. I just happen to be, I feel very balanced in my right and left brain. And so I can do the totally analytical and I can do the very, spiritual and artistic and intuitive and weave it all together. Um, but I would say, especially having that solid foundation of tarot did support it just built upon the intrigue of wanting to develop another system of divination that I could really use to get clarity and guidance.
Nice. Do you find that, because I like you're focusing, you're viewing this as divination. Do you find that they're using similar muscles or how does that?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, so I love astrology and tarot and consultations because I love the moment of divination. It is such an exciting, exhilarating moment of like, what's that card going to be, or what is the chart going to be for someone? Because I also, unlike most astrologers, because I was doing readings in a like most of the time a walk-in basis. I mean, there's, once I built my practice, a lot of people were coming in regularly, but when you're doing astrology readings and someone just walks in, you don't have any time to prepare. And so I developed doing chart readings in the moment and how to do that based on just, I pull up the chart, let's go, right? So there is this ability, I think that, the context of a consultation is a space of magic. It's that moment of like we're kind of in between and mediating the divine, mediating, the spirit. And these are just epic tools that help us do that. So yeah, but I also, of course, use astrology in a plethora of, outputs and predictions and all kinds of things.
What would you say you're using it for most frequently then?
Yeah, I mean, so I do a bit more teaching now than consultations. I mean, so I love transits. I love understanding mundane astrology. I also love elections and electing specific times and weaving that in with magic and weaving that in with really just kind of navigating life and when to do things and when to launch things. Um, I really use astrology now as a lens and a language to understand and process life and to read between the lines. And of course we all do it with seeing the larger patterns of what is unfolding, and it's the beautiful mega mystery of life. We just have this epic language that allows us to see that. So yeah, but definitely in consultations, deep birth chart analysis. I've really gotten into over the past, I don't know, 5, 6 years, the traditional astrology and a lot of these ancient Greek and Arabic techniques, um, of prediction. So I'm really into that, but I wouldn't say that I could necessarily pinhole myself into one particular mode of astrology. It's a blend of modern and traditional, but I love to use it as well with magical workings too.
Nice, nice. Okay. So have you been to UAC before?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Yeah, of course. So I went to UAC in 2018 when it was in Chicago. First UAC, I've been to a bunch of other conferences. I've been to, I don't know, like 12 NORWACs, and that was my first, and NCGR conferences and other conferences. But UAC was totally, I would say, a pretty life-changing conference because the convergence of astrology and astrologers that happens at a UAC is unparalleled, I believe, on the planet. If I'm wrong, I would love to be wrong so I could go to this other magical astrology land. But um, you know, there's something really like I feel like you tap into to the heartbeat of astrology
Hmm.
on the planet when you're at a UAC. It's like you really feel the pulse of what's happening in the astrological world. And I believe very much that we are in a time, luckily so, of astrological renaissance on the planet with, the evolutions of astrology that have come in the last century, and then the revival of these ancient practices and the convergence of different world approaches coming together. And so honestly, I'm super excited about this upcoming UAC because like we're in this amazing time and all these new astrologers coming on board and bringing their unique perspectives and lenses. So yeah, I mean it's the ultimate crossroads of astrology where of course also someone like myself, I love meeting people. It's also, you get to meet amazing astrologers with unique perspectives and it's so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's very exciting. But otherwise, we're nearing the end here. Is there anywhere that viewers can find more about you?
Yeah, of course. You can go to my website, nicklasky.com. You can also, I post videos on Instagram. That's just my name too. Also, I'm really starting the process of beginning a YouTube channel. And it's all just my name, Lasky. And and that's about it. I'm super looking forward to the conference.
Cool. Well, I will pop all of that down below. And if viewers want to know any more about the conference, you can head over to uacastrology.com. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us today and look forward to seeing you in Chicago next year.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. You can find new episodes on our channel every Monday and Wednesday, continuing through to the United Astrology Conference in 2026. We also invite you to attend UAC 2026, taking place in Chicago, Illinois from September 3rd to the 9th. As the largest astrological conference in the world, UAC offers an unparalleled opportunity to deepen your astrological studies and connect with a global community. With over 270 lectures, more than 180 esteemed speakers, and 1,500 attendees, this gathering is a cornerstone event for both seasoned professionals and dedicated students of astrology. For details on registration, scholarships, volunteer opportunities, or advertising, please visit uacastrology.com or refer to the links in the description box below.